Hello friends, welcome to Daniel and Larissa's channel, all our channel viewers who are with us. You've known for a good while that we always advocate for classic sausage cooking technologies, which is why almost all the recipes from the wonderful Obranom Konnikov's 38 years old edition of sausage and smoked meat are carried out on our channel. All the videos can be found on the channel, and on the craft store website you can find texted step-by-step recipes. Also in the literature section you can download completely free of high quality, even buy the book in printed edition. And today we will discuss about industrial technologies of sausage cooking. I consider myself an old school sausage maker, and of course my main tools are pre-salting, natural fermentation, maturation in a climatic chamber, but technology has significantly progressed far ahead. Today together we will cook using Prova salts. For this, we'll use a kit from a Swiss manufacturer and a starter culture called Flora Italia. What will this bring us? Firstly, we'll be able to avoid needing a climate chamber. Secondly, we'll significantly simplify all our processes and practically guarantee a 100% positive outcome. When using these such kits, which are available on our website for different sausages, you immediately get the spice mix perfectly balanced for the type and variety of sausage, and also all the necessary additives. In this case, these are antioxidants. And what else is there? Monosaccharides and enhancers. There's an acidity regulator, that is ascorbic acid, and flavor enhancers. We should have a sausage that's like those made in industrial conditions, but we're going to cook it at home. I'm not saying that this technology is better or worse, it's significantly simpler, especially for beginners. Sausage makers, you don't need to bother with a lengthy salting process, nor a climate chamber. All of this is done quickly. Practically in one breath, we are doing this right now with you, especially if you are a fan of the classic old school way and interested in creating your own climate chamber, something I love, then on the craft store's website you will find the equipment necessary to convert an ordinary home fridge into a full-fledged climate chamber. Also, you can find a playlist of videos where I review the equipment and show how to install it. Additionally, on the craft store you can find a vast library of books on sausage making, free to download, offering the biggest selection in Ukraine, all the equipment and ingredients for making sausage. Please note that we are not only shipping to Ukraine. I want to note that when you purchase equipment costing more than $10,000, we offer free shipping. We also deliver all our products to all European countries, America, Canada, Israel, and some other countries upon request. And we, my friends, let's start making sausage right away. I'd like to say a few words about starter cultures. For many old school sausage makers, the word starter cultures causes a slight shock of horror, but it's just chemistry. In fact, starter cultures or sausage maturation accelerators are just lactic acid bacteria, exactly the same that we use in cheese making, well, or almost the same, because starter cultures also include some nutrients and some bacteria with the scary name of Streptococcus. Next, my friends, to feed the starter cultures, and they will very quickly raise the acidity of the sausage or lower the pH. In order to speed up the fermentation and maturation processes, we must use a mixture of monosaccharides. In this case, we use crystal.
Next, we add seasoning with Provence salts, a combination of spices and ingredients that will enhance the sausage's flavor. We have already tried these seasonings. And of course, for Sorowel sausages, we use nitrite salt with a sodium nitrite content of 0.406%. You can find a detailed description of the entire cooking process in the link in the description, located on the craft store website. In the text recipes section, where all the recipes for all our sausages are. To prepare Provence, we've used this wonderful piece of pork, which is of course ripened. I'll talk more about this soon. This is a neck cut, but you can also use a shoulder cut. First, I'll prepare the meat for the grinder. While I'm doing this, I also forgot to mention the casing. We will be using an iSail casing, which fits perfectly. For curing specifically in refrigerators, it efficiently corrects all our mistakes. You can also utilize collagen for dry cured meat. Why not? And you can use natural pork casings. That's possible too, but even then I would advise being mindful of the climate chamber. Fatty pork is quite delicious. And regarding meat, despite our usage of native technologies, meaning we use starter cultures, the meat is still desirable. It is highly recommended that the autolysis process is allowed to occur, meaning we do not use fresh pork. That is, if we purchase meat from a store, then everything is fine. But if we buy it from a market, it must be stored in the refrigerator at a temperature between 2 to 4 degrees for at least 5 or 6 days. This will yield an exceptional outcome. By the way, I even allow meat for kebabs to rest, let alone steaks, where the meat undergoes dry fermentation. We employ indigenous technologies, that is, we use starter cultures, but meat is still preferable. It's extremely recommended that the autolysis process transpires, which implies we do not use fresh pork. That is, if we buy meat in a supermarket, everything's all right. But if we acquire it from a market, then it should be kept in the fridge at a temperature from 2 to 4 degrees for, well, at least 5 or 6 days. This will assure a great result. Incidentally, even for skewers, I marinate the meat, not to even mention steaks where the meat is subjected to dry fermentation. At this stage, when we start working with the meat, we need to prepare a starter from starter cultures. Starter cultures themselves have minimal consumption, only 0.25 grams per kilogram of raw materials. We add a mixture of monosaccharides, crystal, and water slightly above room temperature, around 26 degrees. We mix all this well and set it aside. The starter cultures will rehydrate, come to life, and start consuming sugars, essentially their main food. Meanwhile, we will prepare the meat, which of course should be chilled, ideally at a temperature of 4 degrees. And you might ask, why chill the meat? To heat it later, because we will heat the sausage, and the initial ripening period will be at a temperature of 28 degrees. It's straightforward. The meat needs to be thoroughly kneaded. In fatty pork, the fat that we grind will start to melt at high temperatures during kneading, and the melted fat coats the minced meat and then obstructs. Normal fermentation and the usual loss of moisture. Therefore, if we use hot or warm raw materials, even at room temperature, we significantly risk getting a hardened or even rotten loaf. We grind our fatty pork. After all this, it's necessary to mix everything thoroughly. On our craft store website, you can purchase professional meat grinders, cutters, dough mixers, mince mixers, essentially everything for large volumes. We work with ordinary household equipment, and if there's no mixer, you can even mix by hand. Just be careful not to overheat it. The primary rule is to not let the temperature of the minced meat exceed 10, 11. Ideally, it should be 5, 6. We put in all our ingredients here. I'd like to draw your attention once more that there's no pre-salting. I added the nitrite salt and starter cultures right there. All of this is for kneading for 5 minutes.
Following all the processes, we have this minced meat. Take note, I'm now going to remove it from here. It's very sticky, very dense, and has a lovely pink color. We send it into a press for making sausages after correctly preparing the azel casing beforehand. Take note. Be aware, azel doesn't need a lengthy soaking. It must be soaked in warm water just before stuffing. I'll need an assistant for this. Larissa will take on that role, of course. Friends, please note the blood store sells electric presses that don't need an assistant. There's a foot pedal that allows you to control the amount of minced meat pressed into the sausage. It's very convenient. We pack it quite densely. Izel allows us to make a dense stuffing, but we can still do a good job of it and compact everything well. We should end up with around 3 bars from what we have, which weighed about 1,300 grams in raw form. We try to compact the sausages as much as we can and tie them up. We also do it together because we want to compact the loaf as much as we can when twisting it. This can be done like Larissa is showing right now. Of course, all this can be done with a clipper or a nylon screed tightener. Essentially, any method is applicable here. The main thing is to twist the loaf well to compact it, making it as dense as possible so that we get the correct and beautiful structure of the sausage. In any case, I can't do it alone. Here we are, of course, forming a loop to hang it all nicely. In order to show you the sausage after the warm fermentation process, we specifically form this loaf and we will cut it after 3 or 4 days. Now let's talk about the first process that our dry cured sausage needs to go through, which is warm fermentation. Look at the color of the loaf. It has a faded, almost bluish, slightly sour look with a hint of pink. That's the normal color of ground meat. We hang the loaves at a temperature of 24-26 degrees, which is simply room temperature. The only important condition is that they need to hang, not lay flat. And the state of the loaves, what they look like, I'll show you tomorrow. Friends, 24 hours have passed and our Provence salami now looks like this. Pay attention, it has become considerably darker. Of course, you'll notice this if you compare it with what you saw in the last frame. I also have a sausage which finished the warm fermentation period. This sausage has been kept warm for 48 hours. It's now going to be moved to a cool place. Actually, for cold ripening, we need to weigh and sticker these bars, inputting the date and weight. This is necessary to regulate it. So this bar weighs 30,068 grams. This is Provence, and I mark today's date. This is necessary to regulate the extent of loss in the sausage loaf and accordingly know how much time it will take. The loaves stay with us for another day in the warm fermentation phase. Actually, my task was to weigh them and show you how they have changed in 24 hours. See you tomorrow. Friends, our Provence salami looks like this after 48 hours. We'll now cut up this little one we've prepared, maybe even give it a taste, and this sausage will go on to further ripen. Now, we're placing it in the refrigerator at a temperature of 4 degrees for 24 hours to halt all fermentation processes. This ensures that the lactic acid bacteria cease their activity and don't sour our sausage. Next, we'll leave it at a temperature of 10 degrees. Everyone has a dial on their fridge, and if you have a climate chamber, that would be ideal. Then at a temperature of 10 to 11 degrees with 75% humidity, We'll leave it until it loses 35% of its weight, which we've noted down. You can also hang the sausage at this stage if the weather's cool. Lastly, if the average temperature is 10 to 11 degrees, even in an unheated room, such as a basement, cellar, or closet, what's important is that the temperature remains stable and, of course, is frost-free. Let's cut this little one. From a purely unscientific perspective, this should already be a proper sausage, like fermented sausage mince, which we also cooked on the channel. Take a look at how it looks. You can even try it, although it's still very soft, but I think it's quite possible to try it. When the sausage, by the way, I stuffed this baby with my finger, just stuffed from the nozzle, because what's left in the syringe isn't very dense, but at the same time we see a rather glossy cut. Really, it's very fatty. Such a fatty, let's try it with you. Of course, it's not yet a full-fledged sausage product. It doesn't have the proper consistency and it's very soft, but at the same time it's delicious. It already has a sausage taste, beauty, and can serve as an excellent snack for beer. I'll tell you that it tastes like a proper sausage. And now, I really like how the spices have been chosen, and I suspect that this salami de Provence will be excellent. But of course, the casing sticks, which is not attractive, so it will go to the cats and the rest to me. It's just wonderful. It's delicious. I was thinking of giving it to the cats, but I think I'll have it tonight with beer as a snack. And we properly dry this sausage. Also, we made a German fermented sausage meat, which could simply be spread on bread. It turned out to be amazing. It's something along those lines, but still with a sausage-like consistency. Of course, it's still soft. It will continue to dry out, I believe, for about 3 or 4 weeks. And we're going to taste this delicacy together. See you in the next episode. In our case, the sausage rolls mature in an unheated room. The conditions here are just perfect. The temperature is around 10 degrees and the humidity is 75%. And of course, we have a warehouse of equipment here, including a climate chamber. Friends, a month and a half has passed. Our salami Provence has dried up a little. According to calculations, it should have lost 35%. Weighing shows that it has lost 40%. The sausage will turn out to be a little dry, but I think it's no less tasty. Again, this is a matter of personal preference, because someone likes a drier sausage, someone likes a more elastic, juicy, if I may say so, about dry cured sausages. And I am interested in us. We used, if you remember, a mixture for Provence sausages, and a video has already been published with Brunswick, which we also made from a ready-made mixture. And there the result turned out to be just fiery. I really liked the selection and the correctness of the taste and aromatic properties of Brunswick. Let's cut and try salami Provence. What did we get? So we ended up with these 3 remarkable bars, but oddly enough, they are all different sizes, not identical. Like this one, if you hold it, no, they are like seasonal children. Let's cut the biggest one probably, because I think it will look good on camera. And we can see what our cut looks like. Friends, take a look at this gorgeous cut, which is mainly shiny. It's very thick, and the scent is absolutely enchanting. Let's go ahead and slice this beauty so we can taste it. I can already tell the result will most likely exceed all of my expectations. The sausage turned out to be very aromatic. I believe it will be quite delicious. Let's give it a try. As you know, any sausage is not just food, it also makes a great snack. To accompany the off-screen tasting, I've prepared a bottle of homemade bourbon, but that's a story for another time. Right now, we're going to try this sausage, and I'll tell you how it turned out. In my opinion, raw cheese can be consumed in only one form. I enjoy spreading fresh white bread with butter. On top, I like a thick layer of dry cured sausage sliced very thin. Tell me in the comments how you like your dry cured sausage. Naturally, it's great with pork and as a snack with any alcohol. Dry cured sausage is perfect with beer too. But now it's time to taste. My friends, I want to attempt to show you what it looks like. How does the sausage look when the light shines through it? It looks like mica and has a lovely marbled texture. Now I will taste it. Please watch. What a beautiful sausage when the light shines on it. Isn't it something? Just like that. If you turn it towards the light, it's also very beautiful. Look at the close-up. I just can't get enough. Unfortunately, if it's from Braunschweig, I've tried sausage dozens, maybe hundreds of times in my life, but I've never tried Provence salami from the supermarket. I don't know how this sausage is supposed to taste, but let me tell you, it's delicious and quite interesting. It's absolutely amazing. A very interesting sausage with not very pronounced spices. I'd say there's a minimum of them. And the sausage has a very delicate and very characteristic meaty taste. For some reason, it reminded me of a good whole mussel. Well, something like prosciutto or German, only in the form of sausage. Really a very cool taste for morning sandwiches with butter. For the next 2 weeks, I'm guaranteed enjoyment. So friends, using a little bit of magic almost under normal conditions, that is, we used a cold room, but we could also use a regular refrigerator. We got a perfect dry cured sausage. It really is very tasty. I'm just very happy with the consistency of the sausage. Its transparency, its cut, it's so glossy, cool, but you really can't tell it apart from a good store-bought craft sausage. There's an Italian crafted sausage, really high grade, high quality with a very cool taste. It's very delicate and balanced, nothing beyond. It doesn't overpower anything. It doesn't spoil the meat's taste. I can recommend this recipe with great pleasure. It's the most delicate, so we're delighted to present this recipe to you as a specific recipe for this particular sausage and as a cooking method with starter cultures with a set of spices. Friends, I think it turned out really great. So please like this video right away, subscribe to the channel and click the bell. Stay with us since we have 2 more sausages ripening in our cool. The meat is ripening in white noble mold. Yes, we made pork tenderloin in white noble mold. It's going to be really cool. It's going to be really tasty. So stay with us. Thank you very much for your attention. Enjoy your tasty sausages. All the best. Bye-bye.